Thank you for joining me and taking the time to subscribe to this channel and spread it across Europe. All right, I want to get into the earthquakes. There were a couple of them. This one very early yesterday morning. Turkey, Greece, right along the border. I want to show you the depth on this, the potential more quakes in this area. Again, a couple of them happened. This is the one right near Turkey and Greece. A lot of us felt it in the morning hours, no doubt very early while you were sleeping. And of course, once you get to about 5.8 in magnitude, and that's what it was, especially when you're jolted out of bed. If you've ever been jolted out of bed by one of these things, you start to wonder how significant of a quake this is going to be. There are some damage reports with this, and one fatality of my last check associated, one death associated with this quake. 5.8 in magnitude, again, very early on Tuesday. Greece, Turkey, right here, the depth, 74 kilometers. The depth, very important when you're talking about an earthquake, also the type of an earthquake. We'll touch on that in just a moment. And then later in the day, we had this happen yesterday, 4.9 in magnitude. So during the day yesterday, we had this quake happen. This one a little shallower. So while the magnitude wasn't as high, because it was shallower, a good portion of us felt this. This one in Greece, 40 kilometers down or 25 miles down. As far as damage associated with this, not much, but a couple quakes that a lot of folks felt, millions felt with that. Again, very early yesterday morning and during the day yesterday. Looking at the fault lines in this area, that bigger quake was a divergent fault, right along a divergent fault. And that fault line, as far as I know, is not named, but right in through here. And then you get back through this one that happened, the 4.9, that's a convergent fault. A convergent fault zone is kind of where things are coming together. So looking at the plate boundaries, I should say, we get a look at those. So the convergent one, like that 4.9 in magnitude, that's where things come together. You can have some lifting. You will, because things are going to collide, one plate going under another. You have lifting. These lend itself more so to the potential of tsunamis. We didn't have that in this case. And then you have that divergent one. That was the 5.8 in magnitude, almost 6 in magnitude right on the Turkey-Greece border. That's when you have plates moving away from each other. Typically, the convergent ones can be a little stronger. The depth, I mentioned that one that was about 4.8, 4.9 in Greece. That was a shallower one. That's why a lot of us felt it. The shallower the quake, the better chance you have at feeling it. The quake that was about 5.8 to about 6, Turkey-Greece border. That one was an intermediate one, but close to a shallow one. That's why a lot of us did feel it. Of course, it was near 6 in magnitude, so many of us would feel it anyway, but because it wasn't super deep, many of us felt it. Now, kind of flipping over from the ground into the air, a severe weather threat. Hail, significant hail and flooding will be possible. We had that yesterday. We're going to have that again as we go through the afternoon. We have this big spin here. That's going to draw in that warm air again, the collision of boundaries. This is another severe weather threat. Today's severe weather threat even higher than yesterday. See, right in through here, we're looking at parts of Poland, parts of Germany. On the south side, we swing back toward parts of Switzerland, still northern Italy, watching extreme eastern France, back toward parts of Austria. So Switzerland, Austria, a significant hail potential out of this. A lot of lightning in these storms. We'll see some hail. Can't rule out a brief tornado. That is a possibility, a brief tornado, but some damaging winds, hail, and flooding. I mentioned yesterday, we had significant flooding. When I joined you yesterday, I mentioned there would be flooding. We'd have that intense runoff, and that's what we had yesterday. I'm concerned about that later today. I'll show you that with some of the model data. Then tomorrow, the severe weather threat still around, not quite as high, and then you see it shifting off toward the east as we work our way into our Thursday. So the heat is on. These are the highs in just a few hours for many of us, depending on when you are watching this. Just where you see this orangey or red shading, that's really the heat. We have that other system moving in, the collision of boundaries, and that's why we're going to have this, the storms firing up mid-afternoon. You see them right in here, Switzerland swinging back through Germany. Here's Poland, Czechia, and then we get back through Austria, Hungary. We'll be on the edge of some storms. Slovakia, we could even see some of those. But as we swing back through later in the day and even early into tonight, we're going to see the possibility of some storms as well, even when that sun goes down. There's a lot of energy out there. So even when the sun goes down, we're still going to have that possibility of storms. And then you could see some of that rain here swinging back in by the time we get into tomorrow. Spotty thunderstorms, not as widespread, but you see a couple on the move. And then going on in time further, this here is by Friday. We'll be watching. I'll swing up toward our northern zones in a second, but we'll see some spotty storms, not quite as much as we're going to have later today into at least early tonight. But again, a severe weather threat. Stressing that we had significant flooding yesterday. You could hear it in my voice. I am concerned about that severe weather threat. All right, we get a look as we go through the day today into this evening. There's some of that rain pinwheeling around. This is the bigger system, so we're watching out for those showers. Rain chance will go up. I'll show you this city by city in just a moment. Swinging over toward Amsterdam as well as we work our way into tomorrow. And then on Friday, as one system slides up toward parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland, another one starts to move in. Look at that rain increasing for Northern Ireland and then swinging back toward Wales, southern sections of England. We'll be watching out for that chance of rain that will be increasing, especially later in the day on Friday and then Friday night. So we've got one front in through here, another one here. This is that severe weather threat. Strong storms possible, central sections of Russia. And here's this spin here, still that mix of rain and snow for parts of Iceland, and then this spin just pinwheels around some energy. And you see by tomorrow, some of the storms kind of lifting a little bit up to the north. They may even squeak up as far north as Finland, and then we'll be watching out for the next system that we'll be working in. There's that next shot of rain. You see it right there that starts to move in to the British Isles here. Still Norway, Sweden seeing some of the rain, and then spotty showers and storms elsewhere as we work our way into our Friday forecast. There's the wind maker that's going to be just kind of spinning out there for days. I'll show you how it really increases the seas, but it's this next system that'll increase the seas further. So you see these winds that will be gusty. We're running at winds anywhere from about 40 to about 60 kilometers an hour for gusts if you're along the water. But by Friday and Saturday, this next shot of that strong northwesterly and then westerly flow starts to kick in, and we'll have increased winds even more so by the time we get into Friday. So just watching those winds as we go forward. We'll be seeing some of those stronger winds that are going to be hanging with us as we go forward, just zipping around with this initial area, but it's going to be that second one that could be even a little bit stronger. And with that, look how the wave heights, they're going to be kicking. About one area leaves, but watch how the next area starts to move in. So the Atlantic waters, no doubt, and really everything almost in between, we'll be watching over those seas right there building. This here is by Friday into Saturday as that next system moves in. We'll be seeing those seas running over 4 meters in spots, 13, 14, 15 feet in some locations. Now, as we get a look at those rain totals, brighter colors popping up where we get some of those thunderstorms, and we'll see that Estonia over toward Latvia, Lithuania. We're going to see some of those storms. I mentioned some of the ones that will kind of edge their way up as far north as Finland. Well, they're going to catch us, and that could give us a quick 75 millimeters of rain to about 100 millimeters of rain if we get some of those stronger storms. Couple shots of rain here as we work our way through the British Isles. We could see some spots around 25 millimeters of rain or even a little bit higher. Not as much in Spain. More of that action has shifted off to extreme eastern sections of France, and then you see it there pulling back toward parts of Switzerland, where we could have some spots of 100 millimeters of rain. The flooding, the mudslide potential. Watching that later today into tonight. That runoff will continue. Even if it's not raining above your head, there could, depending on your location, there could be that flood threat with that rise in rivers. We'll be watching that carefully. There's that higher chance of rain swinging all the way up toward central Poland with some of those storms that we're going to be dealing with. So you see how the rain chance picks up across London. We'll see a shot of that for tomorrow, 70% chance, and then about a 50% chance on Friday. By Friday night, it'll get even higher than that. Isolated showers possible through later today into tonight, but we're up to 70% chance in Birmingham for tomorrow. Dublin, we're up to 70% chance tomorrow and a 60% chance on Friday. Meanwhile, Rome over toward Vatican City, generally dry. Same thing, parts of Florence over toward Bologna. We get over toward Milan, we're looking at about a 50 to 60% chance of scattered areas of rain and thunderstorms. Some of those could be strong. Berlin, same thing, 50 to 60%. Being mindful of some of those strong storms later today in through tomorrow. We'll see that in Munich. Watching out for a flood potential even nearby, but more so, again, watching out for the potential of some of that hail. So again, a heads up on some of those threats. Extreme Paris, we may get some scattered storms in extreme eastern sections of France, that better chance. Oslo, it is going to pick up. You see by Friday, we'll be up to about a 50% chance. Isolated shower in Stockholm today, but then we'll get some of that action starting to drive in and working around that system. A 60% chance on Friday. Helsinki, rain chance is going to be high as we work our way into Thursday, and still elevated on Friday. We'll see if a couple of those storms sneak in from Latvia and Lithuania. Brussels, 50 to 60% chance of scattered areas of rain and storms. Meanwhile, in Athens, we're going to monitor the earthquake activity around Greece, right, with a couple of quakes that a lot of us have felt the last couple days. Weather-wise, we are mainly on the dry side. Madrid, we are on the hot side the next few days, and we swing back toward Barcelona. Also on the hot side, a rogue storm will be possible. We swing back toward Iceland, watching out for some spotty showers, just depending on exactly where you are. As we get back toward the capital city, again, the rain chance not super high, but you hit different terrain, different elevations. We'll see a better chance of some rain and snow. Lisbon, we are going to be on the hot side the next few days, 30 to 40% chance of rain and the potential of thunderstorms. In Vienna, some of it's more so to the north and back to the west. Amsterdam, look at that, a 70% chance of rain tomorrow, 50% chance for what's left of today in Prague, 40% chance for tomorrow, 30% chance through this evening in Warsaw, and a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms, some strong to severe, in parts of Poland. Kyiv, isolated storm, but on Friday we're up to 50% chance. Istanbul, mainly dry, monitoring the earthquake activity. And in Moscow by Friday, rain chance will bump up to about 50%. So tracking that earthquake activity, again, that one that we had near 6 in magnitude, the one near 5 in magnitude, there is the possibility, obviously, of additional quakes. There's tons of quakes around the world each day, but this is a little uptick, so know that I'm watching that. Still monitoring Mount Etna because of and I had that in the previous video. If you want more information on that, check yesterday's video. So keeping an eye on some of that air quality, and in particular overall, that severe weather threat continues. It is high later today through tonight, but again for tomorrow. So I got you covered. Thank you for being with me. Have a good rest of your day.